People talk a lot about getting older. They talk about what we lose: energy, speed, memory. They talk about who we lose: friends, family, roles. And yes, those losses are real, but there's something strange that happens too. Something that doesn't make headlines, something no one expects. Many older people become happier, not the fake kind of happy, not the post-it note on the fridge kind, a deeper kind, quieter, the kind of happiness that comes after the storm, not during it, a kind that isn't about having more, but needing less. When you're younger, you think joy lives in success, attention, approval, but as you age, something shifts. You stop chasing, you stop comparing. You stop trying to carry everyone else's expectations on your shoulders, and suddenly, without even meaning to, you feel lighter. This isn't about ignoring the hard stuff. Older people feel pain more than anyone. They've seen death, faced illness, outlived people they love. But they've also learned something. Peace doesn't come from things going your way. It comes from knowing you'll survive it even when they don't. In this video, we'll explore 7 quiet reasons why older people often carry more joy than we expect, even in the middle of loss, change, and goodbye. And maybe, just maybe, that kind of joy is the most honest one we ever get to feel. Reason number 1, they stop caring what others think, and for the first time, they start living for themselves. When you're young, you think everyone's watching you, watching how you dress, how you speak, judging your choices, measuring your success. So you build your life around being seen. You perform, you impress, you pretend. You say yes when you want to say no. You do things because that's what people expect. You hide parts of yourself to fit in, and it's exhausting. Then something starts to shift, slowly, quietly. After 60, 70, 75, you wake up one day and realize they're not watching. Not like you thought. Everyone's too busy worrying about themselves. And suddenly you feel something strange. Freedom. The freedom to be who you actually are. Not the version you trained yourself to be. I met a woman named Nora, 78. For years, she never wore red. I didn't want people to think I was loud, she said. But now, every Sunday, bright red lipstick. Turns out, I love being loud. She laughs. I was just waiting for permission. Now I give it to myself. That's what aging gives you if you let it. Not just wisdom, but permission. To stop performing, to stop seeking approval, to finally say, this is who I am and I'm okay with that. When you stop caring so much about what people think, you start asking better questions. Not, will they like me? But, do I like who I'm becoming? Not, am I keeping up? But am I at peace? It's not about becoming selfish. It's about becoming honest. You still love deeply. You still show up. But you no longer do it to earn a place. You do it because you want to. That shift changes everything, and often it's one of the biggest reasons older people feel lighter. Not because life is easier, but because they stopped carrying everyone else's opinions like a weight. Reason number 2. They know what's enough, and they stop chasing more. When you're younger, enough is never enough. You want the better job, the nicer house, the next thing, and the thing after that. And the world claps for that. It tells you more is better. Don't stop, keep going, and you do. But somewhere along the way, more starts to feel heavy. More stuff to manage, more people to please, more expectations to carry. And by the time you reach a certain age, you start to ask a different question. What do I actually need? That's the turning point, because for the first time, your answer isn't about impressing anyone. It's not about catching up. It's not about proving something. It's about comfort, clarity, peace. You don't need the newest car. You need one that starts. You don't need a table full of guests, just 1 or 2 who feel like home. You don't need noise. You need quiet that feels kind. There's a moment in aging where your wants shrink and your gratitude grows. I remember hearing a man in his 80s say, I used to want more. Now I just want the people I love to be okay and for my back to hurt. A little less. That's not giving up, that's waking up. Because when you stop chasing more, you finally see what you already have, and often it's enough. The roof over your head, the hands that still work, The coffee you make just the way you like it. We don't talk about that kind of wealth, but older people know the richest life isn't the one with the most. It's the one with the most meaning, and meaning comes when you stop running and start being still. Reason number 3. They stop trying to please everyone and start choosing peace over performance. For most of our lives, we're taught to be agreeable, to be polite, to say yes, even when it drains us. We become experts at smiling through discomfort, at making everyone else comfortable even when it costs us our own peace, and it works for a while. People like us. We're seen as dependable, kind, easygoing, but underneath it a quiet exhaustion grows because you can only give so much of yourself before something runs dry. And that's when aging offers something unexpected: permission to stop performing. Many older people, for the first time in their lives, learn how to say no and mean it. They stop going to events they don't enjoy. They stop forcing conversations that feel fake. They stop apologizing for needing rest or space or time, not out of rudeness, but out of honesty. I remember a man named Jerry, 82. I used to bend myself in 1,000 directions just to keep everyone happy, he told me. Then one day I realized most of them never noticed the effort. They just expected more. That realization was painful, but freeing, because when you stop performing, you start living. You begin to choose the things that give you life, not just the things that look good on paper. You prioritize quiet over noise, meaning over obligation, and for the first time, your yes means something, because it's not coming from guilt, it's coming from desire. That shift, from pleasing others to protecting your own peace, might be one of the most powerful gifts of getting older. Not because you stop caring about people, but because you finally care about yourself too. Reason number 4, they slow down and start seeing the small things, the quiet beauty that youth often misses. When you're young, speed feels like success. You rush through mornings, race to the next deadline, eat fast, walk fast, talk fast. You move quickly because the world moves quickly, and the only way to keep up is to run. But when you get older, your body says no, you can't move like you used to. You need more time to do less. And for a while, that feels like loss. You feel left behind. But something else happens too, something quiet and beautiful. You start to see the things that rushing made you miss, the way light spills across the floor in the morning, the rhythm of birds outside your window, the warmth of holding your own cup of tea. These aren't big moments, but they're real, and when you're not rushing, you notice them. You actually feel them. You realize maybe happiness isn't hidden in big achievements. Maybe it's always been in the ordinary. I once visited an older woman named June. She didn't have much, a small home, a garden she tended slowly, a cat that followed her everywhere. You don't get to take life in when you're rushing through it, she said, but when you slow down, even dust in the sunlight feels like a miracle. That line stayed with me because it's true. Youth wants more time to do more, but age wants more time to feel more, and the more you feel and the more alive you are, even if you're just sitting on a bench, even if no one sees you, even if the world thinks you're slowing down. You know better. You're not slowing down, you're finally arriving. Reason number 5, they accept what can't be changed, and that acceptance becomes their strength. When we're young, we fight. We fight reality. We fight against what hurts, what's unfair, what we don't understand. We think, if I just try hard enough, I can fix this. If I don't accept it, maybe it won't be true. And sometimes that fight is useful. It builds resilience. It makes us bold. But over time, something becomes clear. Some things don't change no matter how much you want them to. People leave. Illness comes. Bodies weaken. Time moves forward, whether you're ready or not. And if you keep resisting it, you stay stuck in pain. But if you learn to accept it, really accept it, you stop struggling against life. You start living with it. That's not giving up. That's becoming wise. I met a woman named Estelle. She lost her husband after 54 years together. For 2 years, she said, she tried to beat grief like a battle. But then one day she sat quietly and whispered to herself, maybe I don't have to win. Maybe I just have to live with it. And everything changed. Not because the pain disappeared, but because her resistance did. Older people aren't happier because life is easier. They're happier because they stop pretending it has to be perfect. They stop asking, why me? They stop begging for what's already gone, and instead they start making peace with the present. That's where the calm comes from. Not from escaping pain, but from no longer running from it. That kind of peace. It's quiet. It's earned. And it's deeply human because it says, this is my life, not perfect, but mine, and I'll live it just as it is. Reason number 6. They find joy in the simple things. And that joy feels more real than anything they chased before. As we grow up, joy becomes complicated. It gets tied to goals, to plans, to achievements. You don't just smile anymore. You need a reason. The vacation has to be worth it. The dinner has to be perfect. The day has to be productive. If something isn't big enough, exciting enough, flawless enough, you tell yourself it doesn't count. But when you grow older, you start unlearning that. Because joy doesn't leave with age. It just moves to quieter places. You start laughing at small things again, like a joke you've heard 10 times, or the way the dog sighs when it lays down. You find pleasure in folding laundry, in the warmth of the sun on your hands, in hearing a familiar song on the radio. You don't need an occasion anymore. The moment itself becomes enough. I remember June, the woman with the garden. She once told me, when I was young, I waited for joy to arrive. Now that I'm old, I know it's always been here. I just needed to stop looking past it. That's the shift, from chasing joy to recognizing it. Joy used to be the trophy. At the end. Now it's in the middle of your day, hidden in something small, a soft towel, a kind word, a hand to hold. When you're young, that kind of joy feels too ordinary to notice. When you're older, it's the only kind that really matters. Because the big things don't always come back, but the small things, they never really left. Reason number 7, they know time is limited, so they live more fully. Not because they have more time, but because they know they don't. When you're young, you don't think much about time. You assume there's more chances, more summers, more dinners. You postpone the call, you delay the trip. You say next year, and it feels safe because the end feels far. But when you grow older, that illusion breaks. You start to feel the weight of time. Not in fear, but in awareness. You notice how fast a year passes. You realize how many next times already became last times, and that awareness doesn't make you bitter. It makes you awake. You don't waste as much time on nonsense. You don't hold grudges as long. You don't keep waiting for the right moment, because the right moment is now. I once asked an 85-year-old man what changed most for him in the last decade. He said, I stopped wasting days. I don't go to bed angry. I eat the dessert. I say what I mean. I tell people I love them because why not? That's the clarity that comes with age, not because you suddenly know everything, but because you finally know what matters. The hug you give now means more. The words you say land deeper. The silence you sit with feels full instead of empty. There's a kind of urgency in old age, but not the rushed kind. It's the kind that says, don't wait, live. The young think they have all the time, the old know they don't. And that's why they treasure the day they're in, not because it's perfect, but because it's still theirs. Happiness doesn't disappear with age, it just changes shape. People think aging takes joy away, but maybe it just teaches you where joy really lives, not in the rush, not in the noise, not in everyone else's approval, but in the soft, ordinary things, a hand to hold, a song you remember, the way morning light lands on the table. Getting older doesn't mean less life. It means you've seen enough to know what life really is, and maybe for the first time. You stop running from it, you stand still, you look around and you say, this is enough and I'm still here. And that means something. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, leave a comment and let us know which moment felt real for you. And if you're still here, still living, still feeling, we see you and we're glad you're here.